Hello, and welcome to this review of the Honeycotes Historical Romance Book Series by Anne Barton. I'm Olivia, your new favorite resource for book recommendations you can easily screenshot, and you're watching Random Olive Reads. So we start with When She Was Wicked, which is book one. We have our main character, Annabelle Honeycote, is an impoverished seamstress with a deathly ill mother and a younger sister to financially support. While working at the dress shop, she tends to overhear various gossip and uses that information to extort money. Now, one of her latest victims, Owen Sherborne, is a handsome duke, and he catches her at the drop point and threatens to expose her. But he feels bad for her instead and brings her home as an indentured servant to make dresses for his sisters. There's a bunch of miscommunication and secrecy between this couple, mixed with a healthy dose of social class difference. But the instant attraction is so fun to read, and this book is a great setup to the rest of the series with all of those sisters to find matches for. Next up, we have To All the Rakes I've Loved Before. It's a super quick novella that is tied to the Honeycoat series, and it is available on Kindle Unlimited. Our girl Amelia is a cousin of the Duke and his sisters, and so a few years ago, she was kind of semi publicly jilted when her suitor had eloped with somebody else. And then she had kind of a stumble and fell on her back at a ball and was super embarrassed. So now she just stays home, avoids society, and writes in her diary and pretends like she's like a gossip or scandal sheet writer. One night, her old suitor comes to her door with his very injured friend in tow. That friend, Stephen, was badly beaten because of gambling debts and needs a place to recover. And so he stays at Amelia's house for a few days and they grow closer, of course. It's a pretty quick turnaround in priorities for Stephen, who is now legitimately trying to court and marry Amelia. It's a pretty fun and quick read within this universe, and I appreciated that it was available on KU so that I could read it for free. So, book two is Once She Was Tempted. In this one, we have Annabelle's younger sister, Daphne, who is now integrating into society. She is a very pretty young lady, so she draws a lot of attention from suitors. One suitor in particular has a grumpy friend who is trying to look out for him. So the grumpy friend Ben is trying to warn Daphne away from this guy because he has seen her scandalous portrait. It turns out when she was poor and needed money to pay for medicine for her mom, she had posed for a couple of racy portraits and never expected to be mingling in high society. Now that she's been recognized, she's worried that someone else will know, and then she and her sisters in law will all be ruined. So she asks Grumpy Ben to help her track down the second portrait. And of course, as they team up together, they grow closer, and it's a whole lot of fun. Scandalous Summer Nights is book three. This one is probably my least favorite of the series just because of all the chaos and calamity that's happening. So we have our Duke's sister, Olivia, who is a bit outspoken and brash, and she has had a crush on her brother's friend, James, forever. Forever, forever. But James is an all around good guy. He's not looking at his friend's younger sister in that way. Well, James is about to set sail for an expedition to Egypt and will be gone for 2 years. So Olivia decides it's time to make her move. She corners him at a ball, kisses him, and he's into it, but he says no and leaves and also decides, well, I gotta get away from this girl. I have got to leave town altogether. So the next day, James comes to her house to see her brother, and she thinks he's like gonna ask for permission to propose, but he's not. He's got some other business going on. And so she's completely heartbroken. And then she gets the bright idea to follow him like halfway around the country. And it's actually kind of pathetic to watch her be overconfident in this one because this guy has not given her any clue that he is interested in anything long term. But it's a romance novel, so you know it's all going to work out. It's just super awkward along the way. And lastly, we have One Wild Winter's Eve. We have our youngest sister, Rose, trying to track down her mother, who scandalously ran off many years ago. So we hear all about this scandal in book one of the series. So this is one of those series where it makes a whole lot of sense to read them all together and in a row because the plot sort of develops that way. So now, present day, Rose is accompanying an older Viscountess to her friend's estate, hoping to dig up some information about her mother because the place where they're visiting is friends with her mother. So while she's snooping, she runs into the estate's steward, who used to be the stable master at her house. And so Rose and Charles have had an old friendship, an attraction that they never acted upon, but the tension was there. And now they get to rekindle that friendship and possibly more. Of course, Charles is trying to be an upstanding guy and not take advantage of Rose, but these two are actually really sweet together and open and honest about their feelings and that they um, enjoyed each other's company and all of that. So Charles is also helping Rose look for clues about her mother. So there's that whole plot going on. And then the lady of the house is also trying to proposition Charles because, he's young and attractive and he rejects her. And that whole turns into a whole big spiteful thing where she accuses him of stealing and has him imprisoned. Overall, this book was a lot of fun. Seeing these two people work together as partners was really satisfying. The whole series was really fun to read, and I binge read the whole thing over like 4 days. So I highly recommend it. Thanks so much for watching this video. Links to all of the books are in the description box. Like and subscribe so you don't miss future videos. And you can follow me on Instagram at randomolive.